Garden update, February 19th, 2026. So as we can see, clearly lots of weeds still in here. Some snapdragons there, the alyssum, nice bit of variety of colour there. And the lupin, which, as I mentioned in the previous one, I thought I'd actually killed off, but it seems to be fine, so that's good. It's got some of its seed pods sort of starting up there, so that'll possibly create some more there, which would be nice. And the gladioli have flowered and gone over. Go around the front now. There's a magpie in the background squawking around there. Bee on the lavender. Quite in focus there. I've done a little bit of pruning here, so especially here and bush over there, and even on this front part here, because it was starting to come out onto the footpath, and I don't really like it when people's plants obstruct the footpath, so I trimmed mine back because it seems only fair. So this is all sort of coming along nicely. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to leave this here. It's obviously a fruit tree, it's possibly a nectarine, it could be peach or apricot. I'll leave it here for the moment. It's out of the way, so it's probably fine. It doesn't interfere too much. A nice few sunflowers here. Another one growing there. The amaranth, and there's some snapdragons behind it. There's some self-sown cherry tomatoes there, which I'll probably have to pull out, but we'll see how we go. I also have this giant domed sunflower here. Not entirely sure which variety, but there you go. Some cosmos, which is nice. Can't remember what that is. Got the little label there. I can't quite see it, but we'll see if I can get down to it. There. Not sure if that actually got to... Oh, it might be the... Yep, no, can't remember. There you go. And these sunflowers have gone a bit over. Probably mice or birds eating the seeds, which is fine. So I'll come around this way because one of the things I do have here is very plentiful peaches. I believe these are yellow peaches. I keep picking them before they actually turn yellow because I don't mind fruit that's a bit not quite ripe yet, but they're quite nice. And there's a lot on there, which is good. So over to this side, the lemon tree is coming along nicely, which is good. I need to do some more weeding there. You might also notice I have actually mown the lawn now, which is good. Now this garden bedside is obviously looking a bit worn out. So the other side that we were on before, that's obviously the one that's doing well now, with a lot of colour and life and stuff in it. This one's now going into almost a dormant state. We do still have some snapdragons and things, so there's still a bit of colour. But a lot of this will just be sort of chop and dropped, as some of it already has. And here's the start of me expanding these garden beds because I want to be able to put more in them. And sort of down to the back, hollyhock, snapdragons, the lupins from the original grouping there, the Daphne odorata, I think it was, which I've trimmed back a bit. Weed there, pull that out at some point. Lots more weeds, rosebush, probably need to deadhead that, but there you go. Gladioli, williams, and that's about all for here, so we'll go around the back. So, we'll start here. There is still some of this, the greying on the grapevine, but I don't think it's as bad as it was last year, so thanks Sam from House of Ted for confirming and suggesting basically, yes, cut it back as safely as possible, give it more airflow. I think probably my idea of putting along the fence line has probably not been the best because it doesn't get much airflow there, but that's kind of where it is now, and it still looks nice with all the green, so I don't mind. And we have the red grape over there, which is quite bushed up at the moment, but that's fine. But that should get a lot more airflow once it's trained properly. Now, most of this is actually self-sown tomatoes, and so those are going to be cherry tomatoes because those are the ones I was growing last year. There is there should be a Rouge de Maman, whatever it is, variety over there, which is kind of more of the beefsteak style, or it's a mortgage lifter, I can't remember which one it is, but the majority of this I'm kind of treating it as biomass which means it's probably going to end up being self-seeding tomatoes next year unless I stop them before the tomatoes grow, which is probably a good idea. But I think I can chop all this sort of stuff down and leave it on the veggie patch just to give it a lot of material to use to grow for next year. We have another self-sown fruit tree. Again, not sure what the variety is, but I'll let that keep growing and then probably transplant it. Now, this here, I believe, might actually be a cucumber. I thought I might have transplanted another pumpkin, because I got a few of those. Well, I tried to grow a few of those. But no, it looks like it's actually a cucumber, and it looks like it's actually growing, so that's good. That'll provide us a little bit. This hodgepodge is not just the tomatoes, it's not just the grapevine, it's also the pumpkins. I don't know if you can see one in there, but we have more of that because we actually have a few, there we go, growing here, and another couple there, and I believe there was, in the back there. Now these, hang on, hello magpie, hello other magpie. So this one here, you can see the sort of the greyer feathers on it, would be the young one. That's the one that's been making the noise. A bit of a distraction there. Oh, that one's off. The young one will probably follow suit soon. There we go. Anyway, magpies are known to do swooping, but I've found that the ones around here don't. And part of that might be because they've seen me around the place, and occasionally I sort of provide them a bit of food from the garden and sort of stuff, and so I think they're a bit happier to be around me. But anyway, we're going on about the pumpkins. So with many pumpkins, it seems to be a case of you either don't have any or you have a whole lot. And because, of course, of the sprawling nature of them, as you can see, they're going out to here. There's even another flower there. There's probably one that's not going to come to anything there. It tends to hide a lot of the fruit. In fact, I've just noticed yet another one just around there. So there could be a whole bunch more there. What I was going to say, I've just remembered, is that this particular variety is, I believe they're called sugar pumpkin or sugar small pumpkin, something like that. I specifically bought them because they are supposedly the ones that are used to create pumpkin pie. And I first had pumpkin pie a number of years ago now, 15 plus years ago now, when I worked for an American company called Araka when they were doing musical merchandise in Australia. And the two people who came across to help run it, lovely couple, and it must have been around Thanksgiving, they actually made pumpkin pie, and so it was my first try. I thought, this is actually really nice. So I have grown it before. I have made it before, but it was with butternut pumpkins. So these ones, hopefully, will provide an even more authentic flavour. And we'll see how that goes. Bit of fun anyway. And the rhubarb plant, which we've had 2 apple and rhubarb crumbles from now. So it's been growing very well. My gooseberry bush, which hasn't produced any noticeable fruit this year, but it is very prolific in growth. So I don't know, I think it might be one of those ones that requires ericaceous earth, so I might need to work on that. I might also move it over to here, because we've got the yosterberry, we've got the blueberry, and actually we've got some cuttings of the gooseberry that I've got here. So this might become kind of the berry patch, I guess, as it were. My bamboo, it's still fine. It still isn't really growing super tall, but I have been trying to water it a bit more to try and encourage it to grow a bit taller. So we'll see how we go. The strawberry planter is doing quite well. I had another strawberry plant which I put there which isn't doing well, but that plant is doing well. I can't remember what that is. It could be the giant pumpkin, it could be a standard pumpkin, or it could be a loofah, but I don't think that's a loofah seed. I was hoping to grow a loofah here though, but we'll see what it is. Whatever it is, it'll provide at the very least more biomass, so more compost material, and possibly some food. But yes, this strawberry patch is doing quite well. Got a number of runners coming out here. I think this one here has actually taken root, so I can actually cut that one back here to get a new plant out of it, which is good. Oh, there's some fruit forming there. Have had some fruit from there, not a lot, but ladybird in there, which is not going to focus, but there you go. So I'll see how that goes, probably next year more than anything. This fruit tree still going quite nicely as my bookend, as it were, to my bench. Not entirely sure what it is. You can see the signs of the leaf curl on there, but most of it's actually looking fine. So if I'm lucky, if I'm really lucky, it'll be an apricot, because that'll complement my other ones quite nicely. Hollyhock there. Compost heap looking a bit worse for wear, but that's all right. So as I said, we've got the blueberry bush here, which you can see it's had a bit of scorching on it, but otherwise it's looking all right, so that's not too bad. The pond is doing its thing. Haven't seen the frog again recently, but I have been trying to do minimal irritation or agitation of the bits and pieces around here, so hopefully it's still around. Ideally it'd be creating some frog spawn, but I don't know, and we shall see. My raspberry, which is not doing much at the moment, it is an autumn fruiting raspberry, so to be fair, it probably isn't meant to be doing anything at the moment, but I think I need to pot that up. I think it needs a bigger pot. The avocado, which has been salvaged a bit, it's looking a lot healthier down there, which is good. The apple tree, despite it being summer, I did cut a branch off just here, because it was going over the way of the bench. I thought it should be fine with a branch being cut off. I kind of figure it's a bit like any tree out in the wild. It can have random occurrences that basically break a branch off or something like that, and it should be fine as long as you don't hamper it too much. It should be all right. This is basically from, actually you can even see it there, the bush that I was trimming in the front, not earlier today, but yesterday, and I was then putting it through my mulcher, which is just an electric mulcher, so it's not super powerful, and it kept gumming it up and things like that, so I'm trying to leave that to dry a bit, whereas the branch from the apple tree and some other branches and things are actually much better for it. So got some potatoes growing in here. I believe these are the veggie ones, B-I-N-T-J-E, I think. The lime, let's get rid of that weed. Oh, and that one. It still has the green to it, but I'm not sure how it's going in terms of growing any other bits, but it does look like this is probably the better place to grow it, hopefully. We shall see. Into the greenhouse. So these are the bags of mulch that I've got from just sort of trimming some branches and cutting things back, so it's nice to have that. I'll probably leave them in those, let them rot down a bit. Knowing me, they won't be there for long. I'll end up deciding I want to put them on a garden bed, but we'll see. So this is, actually I should put I don't know where my little thing is. Oh, there it is. That's apricot, so from seeds. So that's store-bought apricot, basically from this year. Took the seed, broke the outer shell open, so it had just the inner seed, and potted it in there, and it grew on. Done at the same time, crock's egg, nothing. But this one is looking fine. I've potted this on. It was in the same pot as that one, and it had the roots coming out the bottom, so I thought, well, it probably needs to be potted on. That might be why it didn't seem to be growing at all. This, I believe, is a chili, and it also hasn't done any growing. I should probably actually check to see if maybe that's got roots down the bottom. Nothing obvious, but maybe I should put that on. We'll see. Not particularly fussed. Still trying to get seedlings going because I'm not having much luck. These ones, you can see it's damp, but it's not super wet, but maybe that's still too much. I don't know. My internal pineapple, this is the one that's been in the ground there, and then I put it in the pot. The one that was over there is actually now in the smaller raised bed, raised bed behind the bench, the one that isn't painted, and it seems to be okay, which is good. Now, these tomato plants, which I have not taken off the suckers because I thought I'm not really that fussed. It can just, again, biomass. This stuff can all be sort of chopped down, then left on the ground here to hopefully improve the soil fertility. One of these tomato plants, because believe it or not, there's actually two here, or at least two. There's one here which I believe is actually a cherry tomato. Again, it's probably self-seeded from ones from last year. You can actually see some tomatoes on there. And then I planted one here which I believe is actually the Rouge de Marmande, whatever one it was. And there's also a snapdragon there. And there's a Bells of Ireland as well, which is in there. You can see mostly as sort of the whitish flowers. They are green to start with, like here, and then they sort of dry out and become white. So again, just leaving the things to grow in here, just because it's nice to have some greenery, really. Okay, so ignore the weeds. They don't exist. You're just making that up with your mind. They're not there. These beds are all a bit dried and sort of done for, really, but never mind. That's all fine. Start again next time, what have you. I trimmed my nectarine tree back a bit. I've also trimmed the plum tree back a bit just to give a bit more room. And this bush, again, I can't remember what it's called, but it grows prolifically. So that had been cut well and truly back, and it's starting to sort of bush up again. We have the hebe, because I know what this one's called. And that's come along quite well, actually. It's quite big now from what it was. Lots of weeds and stuff in there that need to be tackled. Obviously have the sweet peas here, so I could probably harvest those seed pods. You can see quite clearly there the seeds through it with the sun behind them. The lavender bush actually has come along quite well. I hadn't actually noticed that, but yeah, it's come along nicely. We have a multi-headed sunflower here, which is just waiting to bloom. The apple tree from seed, or the one that has branched out, kind of more goblet form, and then there's the one that is just basically straight up and down, but it's actually looking quite healthy now. And some flowers around there. And the surprise, I actually put the whippersnipper up through there, and it actually stopped when I got to the end because the battery went flat, and I haven't charged it again yet. But that is the garden for, what was it, the 19th of February 2026. Thanks for watching, and happy gardening.